What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. It is Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, year of our Lord. I'm already living in 2025. Give yourselves a round of applause for tapping in. Shout out to the greatest audience on earth. I can't wait to get back into the studio, but patience is a virtue. Hey, what's up with speaking? What's up with speaking? Like, I'm rarely here in this building. And so a lot of times I'll shoot content in different places, whether it's the conference room or, the lounge downstairs and like that. So, I get done shooting a video that I actually dropped this morning on the Anton Daniels channel. And just by default, I walk through, and when I'm walking through, I speak to everybody that I interact with, whether they at the mailboxes and stuff like that. And what I realize is that it's hard to get people to speak nowadays. Now, I don't give a piss. I just make sure that I'm cordial. And I've also trained myself to be way more cordial because I don't know who is who. I found that a lot of people interact with me and they already be knowing who I am, even all the way out here in the suburbs. They interact with me and they already know who I am, but they don't always say anything. But then later on, they'll be like, yeah, man, me and my wife, we be following you, we be watching you, having you on the big screen and stuff like that. So I'm very, very mindful of making sure that I make people feel welcomed, regardless of, if they know me or not, or if they say that they rock with me or anything like that. And, I'm just a nice person in general. When I see people, I'm always like, hey, how you doing? But I initiate making sure that I speak. I guess that people nowadays, they've trained themselves to be mean. It's like, I don't know if people is just not used to being around people, if this work from home or this social media culture has taken away people's ability to communicate or just interact with normal people and just be cordial. Hey, how you doing? Like, I was walking down the hallway and I'm walking outside because I had to go into one of my garages to, get my car or whatever and so on and so forth. And so it was a black guy that was there and I was like, hey, how you doing? And he was just like, so by default, I just assume that maybe people having a bad day or they got other things going on outside of me and stuff like that. But I don't care what goes on in my life. I make sure that I speak to everybody. What happens in my personal life has nothing to do with how I'm interacting with people. And it's just like people are different nowadays. It's way different. They awkward. And I'm talking about grown folks. I ain't even talking about young people. Everybody is awkward. Don't nobody know how to speak. They stuttering all the time. It seems like everybody got ADHD. Everybody ain't got no ADHD. It's just that y'all don't know how to talk. Y'all haven't had y'all ain't got y'all reps in. People don't get their reps in, and they think that they got to go to Toastmasters or something like that in order to learn how to public speak. Everybody clam up as soon as somebody say something to them in public. It's like, are y'all that crazy? Are y'all that apprehensive that you don't know how to speak to people in public? You don't know how to interact with people? Stop and shake somebody's hand when somebody is in it. Hey, speak to the kids and keep it moving. Oh, you know what? Mom, I'm sorry. Let me open up the it doesn't cost you anything to be nice, and it actually helps you in your regular life when you're interacting with people, when you're in corporate America, when you're a business owner. You have to learn how to be nice to people. That is just a regular thing. That ain't even what y'all need a book about it. You got to have a book to learn how to talk to people and just be regular. I'll tell you what, go outside of the country and think that you're going to get far, especially when English is not your first language. Go outside of the country and think that you're going to get far by being antisocial. See, that's a luxury. That's a privilege. That's one of the things that we take for granted because we've created and made such a tech forward society that you don't need to or are required to on a day-to-day basis in order to survive. But when you go outside of the country and you got to deal with people or you got to ask for directions or you need insight on where's a safe place to go, and I ain't talking about living on no resort. I ain't talking about just being on an all-inclusive resort in another country and acting like you're traveling. That ain't even traveling. You can do that here. You could might as well just do a staycation here. I'm talking about going outside the country and going outside of the resort and interacting with people on a daily basis. You have to get your reps in. You have to learn how to communicate more effectively, right? So I just want y'all to make the adjustment. Don't be like these dingbats out here. Now it's evolving to the point to where if you are able to communicate more effectively, chances are you're going to have much more success in life in general. And that used to just be a normal thing, but now it's just different. So shout out to y'all. Let me read some of the super chats, cash apps, and PayPals. Shout out to Steven Tucker says, just joined the Patreon on December 1st, truck driver, working on getting my Security Plus certification. Found your channel when you came to Kwame Brown's platform. Been watching for a month now. Love your content. Shout out to y'all and shout out to everybody that's going to be pulling up on December 14th to the show in Detroit. I appreciate you and shout out to my dog, Steven Tucker. You hit me off with that big dog. Let me give you a round of applause. You ain't lying, Molly. Social media made everybody weird. People don't know how to talk on the phone no more. Camille Edwards says, good day, Mr. Daniels. What's the number one thing a new team member needs to know about your personal brand? What is the number one thing a new team member needs to know about my personal brand? That is a really great question. I just think to ask questions, like to be a sponge. I don't think it's anything that you need to know about the personal brand. Obviously, I always am going to give priority to people that understand what they're getting themselves into because it's just like interviewing at any company. You need to know who the people are. When I find out, the first thing that I would ever do whenever I would get an interview at a new company, right, especially in corporate America, is I would find out who I'm interviewing with. I would go on their LinkedIn. I would go on their social media. I will research them to find out where the commonalities are so I can sell myself more effectively. Now, coming into something small like what it is that I do, because I'm a small business, I just think to understand what you're getting yourself into and to ask a lot of questions. It's not that big of a deal. Shout out to you. I think that's a phenomenal question. Thank you, Camille. Jason A-Team says, good morning, AD. Best morning show ever. What do you think about the UFO news going on? Yeah, I heard about that in New York. I've been paying attention to that. I'm waiting for more information to come out before I report on it. Seems like they're getting ready for false flags. Can't trust anything anymore these days. God bless my brother. Yeah, I'm just paying attention. I'm just watching. J-Dub says, good morning. How do you feel about Mike Duggan running for governor as an independent instead of as a Democrat? Do you think he's leaning Republican? I do think that he's a conservative. But in order to win in Michigan, a lot of times, especially whether you're in Detroit or you're for the governor, you have to kind of say that you're a part of one party, even though your policies lean more to be conservative. And that's why I think that Mike Duggan was one of the best Detroit mayors in my lifetime. As a matter of fact, I would say he is the best Detroit mayor in my lifetime. And I already knew that he was going to run for governor, which leaves a vacancy in the Detroit mayor's seat. So I think that it's smart for him to say that he's running as an independent because he doesn't separate himself and he endears himself to everybody, especially those that vote based off of party politics or identity politics. Man, Anton, I've only been watching you for a month. You completely taken over my YouTube feed. Looking forward to becoming a chaser next month. Shout out to Green Monster. I appreciate you and everybody and all of the new bag chasers. Anton, what do you think about Canada being the 51st state, Trump saying? No, I'm straight. We don't need none of these liberals over here. Let them do them and let them get their own country together. We having a rough time with the 50 that we got. Good morning, AD. People have been in zombie mode since COVID, which shows how they interact on a daily. Black women's new players, instead of saying thank you when holding doors, which I've stopped, they say, how you doing? You know what? Honestly, I just hold doors no matter what. I'm not going to stop doing me because of what everybody else is doing. Because there are people that still appreciate it. Loan cash for $5 ain't nothing compared to the $1 million game you giving us all love from South Carolina. Appreciate you keeping it real. Shout out to Nigel Johnson. I appreciate you, big dog, for holding me down. Sean S. says, morning, AD and the Chasers dropped some news in the Discord. UnitedHealthcare CEO got shot, probably targeted. Yes, I am going to be covering that right after Quick Hits. Shout out to everybody that's holding me down. Also want to give an acknowledgement to the people on the Cash App. Shout out to my people on Cash App real quick. Let me give y'all some acknowledgement. Shout out to Mike, that dude. I appreciate you. ESDC says, what up, though? Rand Wilson, CEO of UnitedHealthcare and NYC shot minister. I don't think y'all reading the title of the show. I got it right in the title that we going to talk about it in the show. But shout out to y'all for letting me know. And shout out to Molly and the collection plate. All of my people on Cash App. Thank y'all. Eric D in the building. What up, Eric? What up to my guy, Eric D? Always holding me down. Dang, dog. They got Tiff. We going to talk about it. Shout out to Kev Rothstein. High Tolerance says, since you parked there, it would bode well if people and content creators time themselves to mitigate the fluff and the BS out of the combos. Some of these mother effers are long story short, short story long. Shout out to High Tolerance. I appreciate you, big dog, and shout out to everybody that hold me down. I will continue to read Cash Apps and Super Chats and everything throughout the show. I don't ask for it, but I always like to acknowledge the people that hold me down. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. The best time to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And last but not least, if you are going to be in the Detroit area on December 14th, I would advise you to get your tickets. Come and kick it with me in person. It's going to be an awesome show at a great theater. And a discount code Anton, all of that is pinned to the top of the chat, as well as in the description of the video. Let's get to it, y'all. All right, Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we want to keep you in a loop on what's going on all throughout the United States of America. First things first, 4 fired employees and several other people are accusing the mayor's office over in Chicago of abusing their powers. Check it out.
Right now. As the daughter of 2 Chicago police officers, public service was a natural fit for Ashley Rodriguez. Landing a job in Mayor Lori Lightfoot's press office was a dream job until Rodriguez was fired from the Johnson administration and placed on the Do Not Hire list.
It completely ruined a future that I would have, and so it's not fair to me, and for the people behind me, it's not fair for them either.
3 other former Johnson press staff members were also fired and placed on the Do Not Hire list. At the time, the former employees say they were never told by the Johnson administration why they made the list.
I'd say it was retaliation.
They believe it was retaliation from Mayor Johnson's former communications director, Ronnie Reese. Public records show former employees spoke up about Reese's behavior that allegedly included harassment, sexism, and racism.
I witnessed a difference in the treatment of male staffers and female staffers, yes.
In a statement, Reese denies all allegations. He was fired in October and not placed on the Do Not Hire list. Some of the former fired staffers brought their concerns about Reese last year to the mayor's chief of staff, Christina Passion-Zayas. They say she suggested peace circles and restorative justice to solve the issues with Reese. Yesterday, Mayor Johnson denied knowing about the allegations against Reese until last week, when his office received a Freedom of Information Act request for a copy of Reese's personnel file. Some alders doubt it.
I don't see how the mayor could not know about this.
The mayor is saying that he did not know about it.
I think that there's going to be some FOIA requests to take a look at communication to determine whether that or not that's true.
The 4 former City Hall employees were taken off the do not hire list following an appeal, but it took over a year. The do not hire list is usually reserved for former employees who are accused of serious misconduct or criminal activity.
Yeah, it's clearly retaliation. Obviously, it's retaliation. A couple different things here. Number one, whistleblowers are never welcomed in any environment. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't blow the whistle, but most times they look at that as, and this is separate from the mayor's office, they look at that as being a tattletale and a person that's not a cultural fit. People that are always looking to say that somebody did something to them or somebody harassed them or all of that. And I don't know what the request was. I don't know if they actually, if he actually harassed somebody or something like that. I can't speak to it because I'm not familiar with the situation. But whistleblowers are always looked at as, people don't want to work with those type of people. People don't want to work with the people that's always complaining or telling and stuff like that. They don't want to work with those type of people because it is very difficult to have some sort of working relationship with people that you got to tiptoe around all day long. On the flip side, I do think that the mayor knew what was going on. I do think that it's possibly retaliation. And that's just the way that it go. A lot of times y'all don't understand that y'all are work for hire. Like you are an at-will employee. And so if you are not meeting the expectations or you're not fitting in, even as corporate people, and I think that a lot of people are used to having union jobs and stuff, where is all based off of seniority and all of this stuff. But in most instances that you work in any corporate environment or if you work in any, legislative environment, you are an at-will employee. And so if you don't fit, then you get fired. So interesting. I'll keep an eye on that. In addition to that, Trump, right? Trump is vowing to block the sale of U.S. steel to a Japanese company. Check it out.
President-elect Trump has delivered a gut punch to Nippon Steel's bid to buy U.S. Steel. In a social media post, Trump says he will block the sale and that he'll make U.S. Steel great again through tax incentives and tariffs. So is the deal really dead? What's the future of steelmaking in our region? KDKA lead investigator Andy Sheehan putting those questions to steelworkers and Governor Shapiro.
At 150 years old, the Mon Valley Works Edgar Thompson plant is in desperate need of an overhaul. And though Nippon Steel has promised $1 billion in upgrades, the United Steelworkers oppose U.S. Steel's sale to the Japanese steelmaker, even if steelworkers themselves are divided.
I'm on the side of making steel, and I'm on the side of making steel for whoever owns this facility. I'm partial towards it being domestic and individuals from the United States, citizens of the United States, running and managing the company. Right. But if that's not the case, I'll still work for the people who do.
For the first time since his election, President-elect Trump delivered a body blow to Nippon's bid, vowing in a post on Truth Social to block the sale. Quote, I am totally against the once great and powerful U.S. Steel being bought by a foreign company, in this case, Nippon Steel of Japan. As president, I will block this deal from happening. Buyer beware. Trump has cited national security.
They need to read the rest of it. Let me read the rest of that. Through a series of tax incentives and tariffs, we will make U.S. Steel strong and great again, and it will happen fast. As president, I will block this deal from happening. Buyer beware. Okay, I got it.
From happening. Buyer beware. Trump has cited national security concerns about selling the once giant steel company to a foreign government, even though Japan is a U.S. ally. And while the Steelworkers Union has also discounted Nippon's promises of keeping the headquarters in Pittsburgh and that billion-dollar investment, Governor Shapiro says he's been working with all sides to broker a deal to protect jobs in steelmaking here and will continue despite Trump's post.
I'm less about social media posts and more about doing the hard work.
Shapiro said Nippon's $15 billion.
And more about doing the hard work.
So, Josh Shapiro was one of the people that they say was being considered into Kamala Harris's cabinet as the actual vice presidential candidate. I think that the Biden-Harris / Harris campaign made a mistake by picking Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro. They went with the person that was way more liberal, that had tampons, instead of going with Josh Shapiro. I think that Josh Shapiro is infinitely a better governor than Tim Walz and is more appealing to the things that America wants. Even though he may be a Democrat and he's a liberal, I think that Josh Shapiro is would have been a much better candidate. And I said that when they nominated Tim Walz to be the vice presidential candidate. I believe that Josh Shapiro is a much better governor, and Pennsylvania was a must-win state for the Kamala Harris campaign. But let me see what else he has to say.
Shapiro said Nippon's $15 billion bid is being reviewed by the Committee for Foreign Investment, which will give its recommendation to President Biden. Biden has also expressed his opposition to the deal, and Shapiro isn't taking sides, but says Biden will have the final say before the end of the month. You haven't expressly said that you support the Nippon deal.
My job is to make sure we protect the jobs and steel making here in Western Pennsylvania, and that's what I'm focused on every single day.
Our understanding is that President Biden could still approve this deal. Would you
I think that's a
ask
question.
him to do that?
I think that's a question for President Biden. He ultimately will make the final decision.
And so the future of steelmaking in southwestern Pennsylvania may well be decided within the next month, with the steelworkers themselves caught in the middle. They'd like to work for a company that is domestically owned, but not at the expense of not working at all.
So I think that this is an interesting thing. The only way that this works, because I am for keeping America jobs in America, I'm also for domestic companies being the ones that own these American jobs. I'm a little bit conflicted, but only because I'm not sure what the long-term plan is. Long-term, the only way that these people keep their job, regardless of what the investment is inside of these steel mills, is if there's an environment that's conducive for them to compete as far as continuing to make steel here in the United States of America. If you don't have manufacturing here, if we don't have cars being made here, if we're not protecting the auto industry, if we're not protecting the manufacturing of refrigerators and all of these different devices that we then make that is made from steel, if we're not protecting all of the manufacturers of washing machines and dishwashers and dryers and the industries here, then it doesn't matter whether or not Nippon Steel comes in and they try to buy the domestic steel maker regardless, because eventually they're going to outsource it if they can't turn this into a profitable venture. So you can upgrade the equipment. You can say that they're going to buy it, that they're committed to keeping jobs there. Let's be clear. If they're not making money, then they will not keep that thing open. And I've seen it. I've seen it in Gary, Indiana. I've seen it here in Michigan. In Pittsburgh, it would happen there too. So we can look at this both from a short-term and from a long-term perspective. The fact of the matter is, if it is more profitable for the prices of steel to go up and the manufacturing so that we can keep it domestic, if that is the long-term play, then that would be best for America. But to have a foreign company at the same time over the long term, because really what they would do is they would say, well, we're going to invest $1 billion into updating all of the manufacturing. Well, that won't necessarily keep jobs. That won't necessarily bring new jobs. A lot of times what that does is that forces them to run more efficient. They pare it down. They say, okay, well, we're going to build a blast furnace over here and we're going to build a pickling line over there. And then they get rid of everything else. And then they have a shell of a company of what they used to. And then they take their customers and then they start manufacturing steel in other facilities that don't necessarily keep jobs inside of the United States of America. So beware of promises of foreign countries that then say, oh, no, we're going to keep jobs here. How many jobs? What does that look like? For what term? Do you abide by what the rules and the laws are of steel makers inside of Pittsburgh? And what is the long-term play? So I think that there's more to this, and it's a lot more complex than just looking at it on the surface and saying, yes, this is the way that it needs to go. All right. So I'm paying attention to that. I'll continue to keep y'all up to date on that. And then last but not least, here in Quick Hits, Biden decided that he wanted to give $1 billion in new aid to Africa. Check it out.
Being all in on Africa means making sure African voices are heard at the tables that matter most. Under my leadership in the United States, we brought in the African Union as a permanent member of the G20 economies. And we insisted on more African representation among the leaders of the International Monetary Fund and other world financial institutions.
Another DEI.
We've also pushed to ensure that developing nations do not have to choose between paying down unsustainable debt and being able to invest in their own people. And we're using our own voice to increase Africa's presence in the UN Security Council at the United Nations. That should happen. You can clap for that, folks. You should be in there.
Whenever you got to tell people that they should clap for it, then it's a problem. And all I hear is DEI, honestly.
The United States continues to be the world's largest provider of humanitarian aid and development assistance. And that's going to increase. You know, that's the right thing for the wealthiest nation in the world to do. And today, I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
You don't even know how to read no more.
We know African leaders and citizens are seeking more than just aid. You seek investment. So the United States is expanding our relationship all across Africa, from assistance to aid.
Listen. We all know that $1 billion is going to be stolen left and right, and that does not directly go to the people. That does not, I don't really understand where this makes sense. I don't know if he's just giving away money. I don't know if this is a part of his diversity, equity, and inclusion or what. I don't know if he's giving this away in order to make up for Pardon and Hunter, whatever. But none of that money, not one dime is ever going to go to the actual real people that are on the ground that are affected from whatever drought that's happening over in Africa. We know that this is going to go straight to all of the leaders that's going to steal this thing blind, and it doesn't make sense. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits, all right? Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. DJ Ace Production says, just for the support of the platform. Shout out to DJ Ace. Hey, DJ Ace, I'm expecting to see you at the show on December 14th. Levite Apparel says, Anton, sir, you forgot to send a millionaire morning prayer. Blessings from you. Mines a lot to us. Some of us are dealing with equipment failures, too much money to hide, taxes, and rowdy customers. Bless everybody. You know what? Maybe I should start the show off with a prayer every morning. I'm going to make sure that I do that. Let me see if I can put that in my notes to remember. I don't always remember everything, so y'all going to have to remind me. Start show off with prayer. I think that makes sense. Shout out to Levite Apparel. High Tolerance in the building says, had Nippon sealed that deal, outing the union would have soon followed. Shout out to you, High Tolerance. And then Jerry in the building says, Africa doesn't need the help from the U.S. Their leaders need to stop being corrupt. Ain't that the truth? Talk about it. AR says, is giving money to the Ukraine and Israel considered DEI as well? No, I think that's considered investing in themselves. I'm going to hope that you can read between the line on that one. Shout out to AR. Shout out to everybody that continues to support the platform. All right, so before we get to Tiffany Henyard, we got to address this UnitedHealthcare situation. The UnitedHealthcare CEO was shot outside of a Manhattan hotel, which could be targeted. Check it out.
Well, we're back with more breaking news out of Midtown, where a man has been shot on 54th Street at 6th Avenue, right outside the Hilton Hotel.
All right, and sadly, we are getting more information. According to the New York Post, the CEO of United Health was the person who they believe was targeted. We're not going to release his name right now. I don't know if next of kin has been talked to, but we are hearing it's somebody with the United Health. Dan Bowens at the scene this morning. What are you hearing?
Rosanna and Kurt, we just got confirmation from the NYPD that this victim, this man who was shot outside of the Hilton Hotel here on 54th Street, 6th Avenue, Midtown, has died. And that suspect this morning still on the run, still not in custody. The investigation still very much underway. Want to go through the details very quickly as we know them. Fox 5, Good Day New York, first on the scene. We saw as officers attempted to give this man CPR, those desperate moments, but again, this victim, the man who was shot in the chest, has died. This all happened about 6:45 in the morning outside of the Hilton Hotel right off 6th Avenue.
6:45 in the morning. That's
Suspect described as a
day long.
6-foot-tall man with a slim build, possibly wearing a cream-colored jacket, black gloves. He took off northbound on 6th Avenue.
Let me get this description again. Hold on. This sounds straight up like it's out of the movies. Give me a second.
6:45 in the morning outside of the Hilton Hotel right off 6th Avenue. The suspect described as a 6-foot-tall man with a slim build, possibly wearing a cream-colored jacket, black gloves. He took off northbound on 6th Avenue. People who witnessed this situation, there were actually 2 or 3 people who saw it. They said that it appeared that this suspect was waiting for hours, maybe overnight, outside of the Hilton, possibly targeting this victim. It's unclear potentially how these two know each other, what the backstory is here, all part of the investigation this morning. But again, we can confirm that this individual who was shot in the chest has died, and we're hearing, as you mentioned, Rosanna, that it is someone who may be a high-profile individual with UnitedHealthcare, all that, and the identity of this victim still to come later on this morning, possibly, or throughout the rest of the day. Rosanna?
All day. That's a hit all day long. And this is one of the things that people don't talk about is the safety and security. I know a lot of times people be like, oh, why they got to spend all of that money? Mark Zuckerberg spend hundreds of millions of dollars each year on protecting himself and security. Man, it's people that want to take these people out all day long, 100%. Let me go over to the New York Post breaking this down. About what's happened in this targeted attack. Says the CEO of UnitedHealthcare's insurance division was gunned down Wednesday morning outside of the Hilton Hotel in Midtown, and what police are saying was a targeted attack. Brian Thompson, 50, was at the hotel around 6:46 a.m., arriving early for a conference. Okay, so that's how they know that he was going to be there. I think it was Invest Day. I think it was Invest Day for UnitedHealthcare, and I think they canceled it. I'm going to see if I can find out more about it. I'm going to deep dive. Arriving early for a conference when a masked man allegedly waiting for him, and this is one of the reasons why people are saying get rid of these masks, because you can't really stop and frisk. You can't find out whether or not a person is suspicious anymore. You got to wait till somebody's head get knocked off before you say anything. A masked man allegedly waiting for him fired at him repeatedly and fled eastbound off of 6th. Thompson was hit in the chest, was rushed in critical condition to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Man, look how busy that street is. Goes on to say, Andy Whitty, CEO of parent company United Health Group, said the firm has been holding in its, it was Investor Day. It was an Investor Day conference that was being at the hotel on Wednesday, and that he was attending. Okay, so now we know how they knew where he was going to be. The conference was abruptly called off due to various serious medical situation with one of its team members. Goes on to say, officials said no arrests have been made yet, and that the investigation is ongoing. Suspect was described as a white man, that's a hitman, wearing a cream-colored jacket, black face mask, black and white sneakers. Officials said he was carrying a gray backpack. Witnesses told the Post the suspect had been spotted near the vicinity of the hotel on 6th Avenue, milling around. Sources said the shooter wasn't a guest at the hotel, but it is unclear if he had other business there. When a suspect spotted Thompson, he began to fire from a distance, striking him multiple times. So it wasn't a random robbery. It wasn't a random attack. It wasn't a random any of that. The masked man then fled the Zingfield alleyway and hopped on a bike to escape. Nothing like having a good old bike to get away in New York. Just like the migrants that be on them scooters. Thompson, who had worked with United Health for the last 20 years, took the role of CEO in 2021, was based at his offices in Minnetonka, Minnesota, according to his LinkedIn account. His experience, relationships, and values make him especially well-suited to help UnitedHealthcare improve how healthcare works for consumers, physicians, employers, governments, and our other partners, leading to continued sustained long-term growth. And that's the key: consumers, physicians, employers, and governments. That means that you have so much power that there's other people. It could have been a rival place. It could have been a deal that was going through. It could have been somebody in the government contracting. It could have been anything, literally anything. And and our other partners, leading to continued sustained long-term growth. He lived in a 5-bedroom home that he purchased in the North Star State in 2018 for $1 million, according to Zillow. He previously served as the company's head of government programs, including Medicare and retirement. Yeah, this is a hit all day long. This is 100% a hit. United Health Group, which employs more than 100,000 people across America, is ranked 4th in Fortune 500. Really? Wow. The company did not immediately respond to the Post's request for comment. Prior to joining United Health, he spent 6 years in Minneapolis, PwC, an auditing and accounting firm. So yeah, man, this sounds like it's really, really bad. They had Investor Day at that hotel in which he was scheduled to be at. Prayers for the family. You don't know what these people are into. You don't know what they got going on. We have no clue of what's happening. But he has passed away at 50 years old. He had been a CEO since 2021 of the insurance division of UnitedHealthcare. And the guy was sitting out there in New York in the cold. Now, it's freezing in New York. Let me see what the weather is in New York right now. $38 degrees right now, which means that it was even cooler earlier in the day. At 6:45, it's 11:24. It is 38 degrees right now in New York, and he was spotted walking around, milling around with no sun, with a mask on, cream-colored jacket, blue jeans, black and white shoes, bike sitting in the alley, and he got away? Yeah, that's a hit all day long. I'm just wondering how it was, what kind of cover-up is going to come along with it. And next week, we won't even remember this story, so it ain't going to matter. So they know that news flies fast. But it was absolutely a hit. Again, never know what these people are into. But, prayers up for the family, prayers for him. But somebody just standing around just like that, nobody said anything. Early in the morning, they say that he was milling around all overnight. And he's not homeless. He's not a bum. Nobody said anything about it. Yeah. With a face mask on. Nobody has no clue who this guy is. So, yeah, man, New York is crazy. And at 6:45 a.m., I don't even think New York City streets is busy. But it didn't even matter because he ran down the alley, he jumped on a bike, and he got the heck up out of there. So, crazy story. I will stay on top of it. Even if they lied to us and tell us that they captured it. It was just a random guy that didn't like him. It was a scorn lover. Get the hell out of here. Nope. It's something way more than that. So I'll keep y'all in the loop of what's going on with that. Let me read some of these super chats. JC says, U.S. doesn't give a F. China is the new colonizer. Talking about that $1 billion donation from Biden. Kev Rothstein says, crazy. The healthcare system couldn't even save him. Ain't no saving a hit. Oat Milk, what up, says, is hiring HM going to become common now for Trump? Shout out to Oat Milk. Levite Apparel says, Anton Biden is saying that because of a lot of African nations hold crypto and some African nations are trying to be part of BRICS, follow the money. Well, Trump said anybody that participate in trying to devalue the dollar or get rid of the dollar is getting what? Tariffs. Tariffs on everybody. The One True Whitney says, definitely a hit. United Health is so corrupt in New York. They also get hacked multiple times a year for ransom. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in on the hacks and kept paying the ransoms for a kickback. Nah, I don't think it. It got to go deeper than that. Got to go much, much deeper than that. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's head over to Tiffany Henyard. So, Tiff, Tiff. I feel like we ain't covered Tiffany Henyard in a long time. What do y'all think? I feel like I haven't covered Tiffany, and I've been intentionally not covering Tiff because I felt like it was things that was way more important than just entertainment. I looked at what was happening in Thornton Township and Dalton, Illinois as a clown show, as a 100% clown show. I've done so many live streams covering what was going on with Tiffany Henyard. It's crazy. It's just absolutely insane how many live streams that we've done. But we back. We are here now. As merits now. We here now. And we're covering Tiffany Henyard and what's going on over in Thornton. And they saying that she was thrown off the ballot. Now, I have not done any research on this because I wanted to organically and authentically react to it and find out what was going on. Just like y'all, I was hearing about it all yesterday. So this is what happened with Tiffany Henyard being ousted from the ballot in Thornton Township.
Breaking news tonight from suburban Thornton Township. More drama for embattled Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
And WGN's Jenna Barnes is live in Homewood with more details for us right now. Jenna.
Ray and Micah, we were promised a raucous caucus, and indeed, that is what we witnessed. Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination in this rarely used political process. It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a write-in candidate. That is the sound of an auditorium full of Tiffany Henyard opponents rejecting her nomination for Thornton.
Wait a minute. When she gets ready to speak, are the people yelling to try to drown her out? What are y'all doing? Wait. Did they organize a drown out campaign so that when she goes to speak and say what she want to say, that the people are screaming and yelling in unison all at the same time for the entirety of when she want to talk? Come on, man. Come on, dog. This is a freak show. This is literally a freak show. Hold on, let me see something again. I gotta find out what's going on over here.
That is the sound of an auditorium full of Tiffany Henyard opponents rejecting her nomination for Thornton Township Supervisor in the party's first township caucus in decades.
How you ain't let the people be heard?
As she protested the process, arguing her supporters were still waiting to be let inside.
Guys, have a good night, eat the food, and be merry. This meeting is adjourned.
The meeting lasted only moments, but it was strategized beforehand. State Senator Napoleon Harris is the Democratic committeeman for Thornton Township. He alone decides whether to hold a primary election or a caucus. Amid the turmoil tied to embattled Supervisor Henyard, Harris chose a caucus and won the nomination.
The Democratic nominee for supervisor is Napoleon Harris.
Henyard walked out of the meeting and into a waiting SUV without speaking to us, but here's what she said before the caucus began.
They can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls.
What do you do tonight if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination?
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here. They're not going to go nowhere. The show will go on.
Her allies now figuring out their next steps.
This is the biggest. This is a fraud.
To fight the result.
This is criminal. I would easily say hundreds of people that were not allowed in to be a part of the process.
And we did hear quite a few complaints tonight that Henyard opponents were allowed inside before her supporters. We know there was an event going on before the caucus began. Napoleon Harris's attorney told me that was a Democratic Party fundraiser, although Harris himself said it was not a fundraiser. So that's something that will certainly be examined in the coming days. I am told, though, that those people who were let in had their IDs checked to make sure that they were registered Democratic voters who live in Thornton Township.
All right, so let me give my opinion on this so far, and I'm gonna go to another. I want to source this from multiple different angles, also, but I'm gonna give my opinion on this. Gosh, I don't even want to have this conversation. I don't want to say this, but I have to because I got to say what I really think. That's what y'all know me for. Right or wrong, good or bad, that's what y'all know me for. I think that this is trash, 100%. I think that this is trash. I know, see, the problem with people, and even the people inside of my chat right now, is that they let their emotions get the best of them instead of letting the Democratic Party, the process, the voting process takes place. If she was to be ousted based off of voters, then that is the thing that I think needs to stand. But the fact of the matter is that them preventing and then bullying and trying to prevent people from getting in and then using some backhanded door tactic to prevent somebody from even being on the ballot is ghetto, it is trash, and I do not agree with it. I'm sorry. I know it's not popular to say because she's an unpopular person, but objectively speaking, I don't think that you can circumvent the voting process, and the people are the ones that need to decide. The registered voters during the primary are the ones that need to decide whether or not they want to oust her or not. Now, if y'all vote her out or if she can be beat, then beat her. But do not come with some backhand tactic, disqualification. I'm only going to let certain people in here and we're going to scream them out of the building. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. The same way that I believe that there was election interference that was happening and trying to keep Trump off the ballot. I don't think that we're mature enough to truly have this conversation right now. I don't think that we're mature enough based off of what I'm seeing on this video. Objectively speaking, I don't believe that we are mature enough to have this conversation right now. The people determined that they wanted Trump to be president of the United States of America, regardless of what legalese that they tried to throw to try to keep him off of the ballot. And he had to go through all of this persecution and prosecution to then get on the ballot because that's what we wanted. And we decided, and that's why they so mad, because they couldn't finesse and say, well, he's a felon that then got voted in. No. Y'all tried to finesse. Y'all tried to go through some backdoor process because I see people in the chat saying, but is it legal? But is it legal? It's not whether or not it's legal. It's whether or not it's being finessed, because you could push a lot of things. It's legal to send somebody to jail for 30 years for a crime that they didn't commit if they are accused in a court of law and then convicted amongst a jury of their peers. Doesn't mean it is right. And I hate to have to take this position because anybody that wants this to happen is all cool because they don't like her. I don't like her either. But I also am an advocate for a fair and free election, and people need to vote, not just say that she can't participate in the Democratic primary. She has not been convicted of a crime. She has not been arrested for a crime that would keep her off the ballot. I am not. As of that video, and I'm going to play other videos, I do not agree with the idea that you should keep somebody out of the Democratic primary by bullying instead of letting the voters decide. I do not agree. I do not agree whatsoever. And again, I know that it's an unpopular, position. I know that because I don't necessarily care for the way that she governed, and I think that the people in Thornton are suffering because of what she said, but I do not agree, and I think that this is a coup. I think that this is absolutely a finesse, and this is one of the reasons why we can't take the community serious, because instead of y'all mobilizing and going to the polls and saying that, no, I vote against her, y'all want to have these bullying tactics because it's popular to do at the time. I don't agree with it. I absolutely don't agree with it. Nope, I don't. I don't agree with it. Let me go into another video to see it from a different angle. I'm gonna try to get it from as many different angles. I don't agree with it. I don't.
Breaking news tonight at 10. One of Tiffany Henyard's jobs is at risk. The embattled Thornton Township Supervisor wanted to run for re-election, but after this rowdy caucus tonight, her name will not be on the ballot.
Our Jermont Terry has been following the South suburban political drama for years now. He is live with what happened and Henyard's emotional reaction.
Somebody said your principles are valid. She's just not deserving of it. Every single American in the United States of America that has not been convicted of a crime or is abiding by the election process is deserving of it. Listen, let me tell you something. I have my opinion, but then I try to be as objective as possible as far as looking at the facts. Here's the reality. I did not agree with the way that Young Thug's trial went as far as the judge at that time, that black man judge that was finessing, doing things behind the back. I said that it should have been a mistrial. I said that the trial should have been thrown out. Now, do I believe that Thug was possibly guilty and that he was terrorizing a community? 100%. But I believe in the justice system more. And so if you cannot prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law without finessing a system, you got to let that man go. So I may not necessarily like the things that Young Thug was being accused of, but more importantly, it is up to you. It is innocent until proven guilty, and I would take that position for anybody that is being arrested and has not been proven to be guilty. So regardless of how I personally feel about what he was doing in the community or what he was accused of, that does not absolve him from getting due process, and that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us awesome inside of the United States of America. So it doesn't matter how I feel about a person. The only thing that matters is whether or not you are actually doing things according to what makes most sense as far as what we've established as our cultural norm of what makes sense in the United States of America. I am going to always side with objective over how I feel when it comes to these type of issues. The same way that I sided with Trump and I said that it was election interference and them trying to get Fonnie Willis and them meeting at the White House in order to try to prevent him from being in office by throwing these false charges and stuff like that. I'm going to take the same position on the flip side. Just because I don't like her don't mean that she don't deserve to be on the ballot, and you can go with some little rigmarole and some finesse in order to keep her off. Because see, here's the problem with that. That can happen on both sides. What happened when you do it to a conservative that you actually like and they start to finesse the process? Then y'all gonna be mad because you're gonna say, oh, no, it's a bunch of sassy people over there getting involved and no, they can't do that. See, it gotta be fair across the board. Regardless of how we feel, it has to be fair across the board. You cannot take it and only do it based off of how you like the person, and so it makes sense, but it don't make sense when it's against your candidate. It's got to be fair across the board. You cannot finesse it. I do not agree with it. I don't. And if the people actually, that's why I agree with Brandon Johnson being mayor of Chicago, because y'all voted on it. And so I say don't move from Chicago because this is the thing that y'all advocated for. Deal with the thing that you got inside of your city. It's the whole reason why I won't move away from Michigan, because regardless of whether or not I agree with Gretchen Whitmer, which I don't, I was born and raised here. I'm a registered voter here. I mobilize. I use my platform in order to advocate against certain things. And so now I say yay or nay, and then I live with the process, and then I stay in my city, and then I just work harder the next election. I don't believe in running from your problems. I believe in staying strong, staying down, and you get what you deserve. And so if they voted him in there, I may hold him accountable and I may say he trash, but I think that he won in that free and fair election. I don't agree. I just don't agree with it at all.
Jermont.
Erica and Joe, Tiffany Henyard likes to tell people, quote, "Let me educate you on how this works." Well, tonight you can say she was schooled on how the Democratic caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You can also say that she flunked out because her name is not appearing on the ballot. Folks lined up early and in the cold for the Thornton Township Democratic caucus. Everyone outside and those inside the auditorium were here to vote on who will be the Democratic nominees in the township, including the coveted supervisor position. And Tuesday night's caucus left the current supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, fuming.
You didn't run none of this the right way. Illegal. Napoleon.
That's Henyard pleading her case to committeeman State Senator Napoleon Harris. As a committeeman, Harris set the rules Tuesday night, the first caucus in Thornton Township in nearly 30 years. The person who's
Really? Y'all ain't did this for 30 years. Okay.
says this seems to be outdated. You say what to that?
People in Thornton Township may be new to caucuses because they haven't had them in a while, but this has been the tradition for many other townships around the state.
And those in this room came out to see if Henyard would get the nomination, an uphill battle for the controversy surrounding her administration. Henyard was not in favor of the caucus.
I will be suing everybody tomorrow. This is illegal.
This is illegal in your opinion?
Illegal.
Okay. So let's talk about it.
And she's ignorant as piss. She don't even know how to pronounce her words correctly, but again, I don't agree with it. I straight up don't agree with it.
Your concern is you brought people in to free bus.
All the people outside. They let not one person in.
Henyard used Thornton Township buses to transport supporters, mostly seniors. Yet many of the supporters did not get inside the packed auditorium of 600 people.
This is a process that's been going on way before me, and it's just I'm exercising my rights as the committeeman to hold a caucus.
And it is legal. When it was all said and done, the caucus voted, and Henyard did not get the nomination. Yet listen to who the caucus placed on the ballot.
The Democratic slate that would represent Thornton Township at the April 1st consolidated election reads as follows. For Supervisor, Napoleon Harris.
Henyard left emotional and upset knowing her name will not appear on the April ballot, to the pleasure of many in the room.
I think it's very unfair that I don't get a chance to make the decision of who I want where.
And who did you want to vote for?
I wanted to vote for Tiffany.
She came late, and then she had an attitude because they couldn't get in.
Henyard can only become a write-in candidate, which her supporters say is not impossible.
I think enough people know her name to write her name in, and I believe we could still win it.
Now, to break it down, tonight's caucus was essentially the primary election, and other townships held their caucuses as well on this Tuesday. Now, since she did not win the nomination, Henyard cannot run as an independent, so her only option at this hour is a write-in candidate.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to play out however it want to play out. But again, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I just don't. And I know that there's people that's going to disagree with me because they don't like Tiffany Henyard. I don't agree with it. I'm not rocking with it. And so we all know that whoever gets nominated as the Democrat in the primary is going to be the one that wins the seat. And so it's almost not even an election. And in other cities and in other places across the country, this is how they maintain power. This is how they keep a concentration of power. And the real election is not even Democrat versus Republican. The real election is in the primary because they already know the majority of the people is going to vote Democrat regardless. So I'm not rocking with it. I don't agree with it. I'm not rocking with it. I think that they know. Some people are saying that they advertised it as a fundraising event or something like that from the book. I don't know what it is. But all I know is I don't agree with it. And I think that the election process is compromised in some places. And if it was on the other way around, or if it was a person that y'all actually supported, y'all would be against it also, and y'all would be in an uproar. So a lot of people are hypocrites. We hypocritical in the way that we assess things. I think that this is trash. And I think that you should let the people actually go to the polls and vote in a primary to determine who they want to be representative, who they want to be their representative for Thornton Township Supervisor on the Democratic side. That's just my opinion. I'm standing on that. I said what I said. It is what it is. So, and again, this is coming from a person that don't even support Tiffany Henyard. I don't like her, but I think that the process is the process. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate. I'd love to get her perspective. I want to know what she think about it. Let me continue on with the show. I'm going to read some of the super chats. Brinston Ladd says it was definitely a hit. Facts. UnitedHealthcare CEO was a hit. LaFleur says since it's that cold outside, it's a perfect excuse to wear a face mask. It definitely sounds like a hit. Jay Denoir 89 says this is some Bernie Sanders ish. When it's all said and done, Democrats do not believe in democracy. Even Henyard got screwed by her own. I agree. She was late to the caucus meeting. Yeah, that's nice. Tiffany Henyard is awful, but I totally agree with your position. Respect the process. Brinston Ladd says, I'm 25 and I absolutely agree with you on the topic of Tiffany. A lot of people twice my age that I'm told to look up to would fight you tooth and nail on it, though. The old guard is done. I just think it's unfortunate. What actually happened was Tiffany showed up late and busted a bunch of elderly people as her supporters. The caucus started well before she got there. Anyways, I enjoy your content. Keep kicking. Red, shout out to my girl Mika. Mika's in the building, says, good morning, AD, just checking in and stay focused and blessed. Keep cooking. Shout out to my girl Mika. Let me give her a round of applause. Y'all can catch her this next Thursday night, not tonight, but tomorrow night. Oh, and y'all can go and check out her platform. Go and subscribe to her growing platform, the Red Cup Podcast with my girl Mika. Solution Trucking Channel says you got it all wrong. In the video, they are saying I in unison. I know what they were saying. They were saying I in unison in order to vote for, right? If you listen closely, there's a man saying, if such and such, and everyone said I together, Tiffany is what's interrupting. I don't have it wrong. I know exactly what's going on, and I think that it's interference. I think that they're trying to circumvent the process because I'm not sure if they confident that they can beat her. I don't think that they are confident that they can beat her. How much you want to bet she run Republican? Says E.V. Ray. Jason A-Team says, exactly, AD, I agree, but Democrats did this to themselves. If they have the gall to do it for the president, then why surprised by the Henyard scenario? She mad about that pay cut. She probably is mad about the pay cut. And I don't even think that she's good, the best person for the job. Then beat her. Beat her fair and square. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I disagree with it. I know it's a lot of people that probably is on the other side of the fence. But that's cool. We're not an echo chamber. I'm not censoring nobody, and I think that everybody has a right to say what they want to say. All right, y'all. Let's continue on with the show. What do we got next? Oh, Eric Adams. So I want to talk about Eric Adams for a minute, and I want to look into this a little bit deeper, right? Because Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, is in a very, very interesting position. Yesterday, he was questioned about helping the Trump administration with deportations and getting rid of illegal migrants that continue to commit crimes inside of the United States of America, specifically inside of New York City. And this is what he had to say about it when questioned by reporters.
Well, thank you, sir. With respect, I think you should clarify your position, if you would, because a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I asked you specifically about mass deportations, and you told this group that you oppose mass deportations.
Yes.
You were on Channel 41 last night, and they quoted you as saying that you think the city should cooperate with ICE under certain circumstances.
Yes.
So can you explain to us what your point is on this, and what your position is?
You have Ms. Jones from some countries, been here for 10 years, undocumented, working hard, trying to provide a way, not committing a crime, or you have Commissioner of my Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, a dreamer, came here, crossed the river with his mother to participate in American Dream, and he now is a commissioner that is in charge of other dreamers. Those people should not be rounded up in the middle of the night.
I guess we just gonna have controversial conversations today. I think today is controversial day. I do. So let's address these issues, because I'm gonna get to Eric Adams' point and him wanting to work with Tom Homan, the border czar that Trump was appointed. and to get these people deported as committing illegal crimes, right? Let's be very matter of fact and controversial. I'm gonna state my position, put my stake in this thing, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. I disagree with the Dreamers program. I just got to be the bad guy all the way around, huh? But Anton, I've been here for all of this time. But Anton, my mother brought me over here. I didn't have no choice. Well, then we got to hold your mama accountable for you coming over here. I don't agree. And I know that people use their children as a weapon. Chinese and Asian have been doing it for a long time and flying over here pregnant, hiding their pregnancy, having their children over here in order for their children to have dual citizenship so that they can use them as a pawn to continue to control what's going on over here in America. I don't agree. I don't agree. Everybody should go through the process. Everybody needs to go through the process of being here legally. I don't agree. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's why I don't like Joy Reid. Joy Reid has been blessed to become basically a millionaire and to spout her big head points off on all of these different things that's happening inside of the United States of America on MSNBC when she herself said that her parents came here. I don't know if her parents came here legally or illegally, but she says out of her own mouth that her parents were immigrants into this country. Now, for me, that is a hard stance for somebody to take and say some of the wildest things that she says when she just blessed to be here. She just blessed to be here. So now, again, this Dreamers program, and I don't care if y'all put a label on it that says, oh, we're a dreamer. I dreamed yesterday, last night too. You know what I was dreaming about? Going to get an Aston Martin Vanquish. You know what I'm not going to get today? An Aston Martin Vanquish. God said, be happy with what I already blessed you with. I'll be dreaming too. Thank you, Dolores. I love you too, baby. I dream too. Oh, but they haven't committed a crime except for coming over here illegally. Eric D says, Anton, Joy has a podcast now. You know why she got a podcast? I remember when all of these people were saying that podcasters and YouTubers was just wannabe journalists and wannabe reporters. Well, we make more money than most of them now. All of these correspondents that's now losing their job. Now Don Lemon and Joy Reid and all of these people want to have a podcast. Now they want to try to do what we do, but they can't do what we do as well as we do it. You know why Joy Reid got a podcast? Because eventually MSNBC and all of them is going to get laid off. And so they're trying to get ahead of it by creating a brand separately on their own so that they don't have to be subjected to having a job just like somebody getting laid off at the steel mill or the auto manufacturers, because eventually that money is going to run out. That's the reason why they went and got a podcast, because they trying to catch the wave of what we've been doing for a long time altogether. If she got a podcast, that's what they doing. They trying to get themselves in a position to where they can figure out how to find some money in this game, and they don't know what they doing just like everybody else. Real talk. Armando says, AD, most of us was brought here when we were very young. And what does that mean to me? Listen, welcome. I don't blame you. I don't blame your parents for taking advantage of a system that allowed for people to come over here illegally and be able to take advantage of what we got going over here in the United States of America and taxpayers. You took advantage of a system. It don't mean that you're right. So wait a minute. Wait. So y'all want me to y'all must be unfamiliar with who I am. I am a very matter-of-fact, F your feelings type of person. If you won, you won. If you took advantage of it, you took advantage of it, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to validate it. But I came here when I was young. What does that mean to me? Illegal is illegal. And so if you want me to have a level of sympathy for you, great. I got sympathy for people that committed crimes and got longer jail sentences, but it don't mean that they're not supposed to be in jail. Let me ask you a question. What about the people that actually went through the process, because y'all basically is finessing them? Let me tell you who the people are that get finessed in this whole system. We the taxpayers got to spend money to make sure that your parents is sufficiently taken care of because they decided that they wanted to come over here illegally and they took advantage of a system. Okay, you finessed, you got it, you won, cool. But let me tell you who else get finessed. The people that have been on the list to try to come over here legally, and they've been on the list for years, even decades. What about them? So you just skipped the line. You went in front of them and said, oh, no, but I got a baby. You know what I can't stand? Let me tell you what I can't stand. We was in the airport. Where was we going to where we was almost late for our connecting flight? Just this last one where we went. We was in Romania, and I had a layover flight in Germany, in Frankfurt, Germany. And I see this person who I just got, when we was in the airport in Metro Detroit, they was walking around just fine. They was walking, enjoying, having a good time. When we got over to Frankfurt, Germany, and we waiting in line like everybody else, and we going through the process, they all of a sudden get a wheelchair. You ain't have a wheelchair back in Metro Detroit. So they was able to skip the line of everybody that was waiting in front of them because they said that they had to catch it. Well, what about everybody else that's been waiting here the whole time? Did they finesse the system? Absolutely. Was it legal and did the airport allow for them to do it? Absolutely. Is it the right thing to do and do I have to accept it? Absolutely and absolutely not. I don't have to necessarily accept it, but I gotta deal with it because that's what they allowed for them to do. They went and got a wheelchair, got to the front of the line, and did their thing. I see it happen in the airport all the time. People come up with their wheelchair, skip the line. I think about it sometimes. Rita suggested sometimes. She'd be like, you think we should get a wheelchair? Nope. We got to do it the right way, baby. We got to do it the right way. We got to do it the right way. Let's continue. Listen, I love you. I just don't love you the same way that your parents love you.
These are people who love our country and they're participating in our country. Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens.
You're open to that?
Open to?
To hearing what their plan is to deport some of these folks, and you think the city, in some circumstances, should cooperate with ICE.
Let me. You know what's interesting? And I was talking to the team the other day. I want you to all go back and Google Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Google what they said about those who commit crimes in our city and what they said in our country. They said those who commit crimes need to get out right away. That was their position. So this is not a new position, because in the state of in the era of cancel culture, no one's afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city. And if you come into this country, in this city, and think you're going to harm innocent New Yorkers and innocent migrants and asylum seekers, this is not the mayor you want to be in the city under.
He playing both sides of the fence. He's playing both sides. Eric Adams is playing both sides. On one end, he got to maintain his Democratic position because that's the seat that he holds, and he's trying to seek re-election for mayor. And it's a crowded field. I got a whole list of the people that's running against him in the primaries in order to try to unseat him. And I'm not sure if he's going to be voted in as mayor again because you got 8 million people in New York. A lot of them are migrants. A lot of people don't forget or didn't forget that he supported this migrant crisis because he had to align with the agenda of Biden and Kamala Harris and letting over illegal people into this country in the first place. And so they became a sanctuary city, or they always been a sanctuary city. And there was a fallout from it, and he's seen it from the voters. I will give Eric Adams credit in that he is a good chameleon. You's a good chameleon. Eric Adams, you's a good chameleon. He a good chameleon. Eric Adams reminds me of the kiss up inside of the corporate America, and then he was working hard for this new leadership position, but then that person wound up moving on, and then they got new management, and so he trying to figure out what to do. And then the new management come in and say, hey, let's do a self-evaluation of everybody. And everybody say, well, this person is a kid. Eric Adams is a chameleon. Eric Adams could very much be a bad bee. Him's a good boy, Clint. Eric Adams is just like your favorite female. He your favorite baddie. Eric Adams got the spirit of Drea Michelle in him, if I ain't never seen it before in my life. Eric Adams got the spirit of Bernice Burgos in him, if I ain't never seen it before in my life. Eric Adams, and to his credit, he's trying to adapt. It's a survival game for Eric. Eric got the Department of Justice on his behind, on his tail. They are on him. Eric Adams said, you know what? My only saving grace is to align myself with the Trump campaign. I don't know if Kamala Harris and Biden is going to win, but they've already made me an outcast. They don't even ask for my opinion when it comes to this democratic process of the election. And so he chose a side. He said, listen, man, Trump, I like Trump. Oz likes me some Trumps. Eric Adams is working hard to do two things: to save his job and to save himself a pardon. And if y'all don't think that Trump paying attention to it, like, man, look at this chameleon. Look at this chameleon. Eric Adams is pivoting. So now he working with Tom Homan. You know what? I'd like to see what Tom and the Biden administration is going to do when it comes to getting these illegal migrants out of here that is committing crimes. Nobody in New York City should be subjected to illegal migrants coming over here and committing crimes. Now, I don't know what the Justice Department got going on, but what I do know is that I'm looking to see and have a conversation with the Border Czar, Tom Homan, that come in here and try to make sure that they keep New York citizens safe, because my job is to make sure that New York citizens have the opportunity to be dreamers and to make sure that they are safe in their own communities. Now, I don't remember what I said last year. I don't remember me sitting there at the migrant station, bus station, and I was clapping for them. But what I do know is that my number one priority is to make sure that Democrats and migrants over in here, and you know what about the dreamer? What about the dreamer that's sitting over there and, you know, he wound up raising himself up, never committed a crime in New York City. What about him? I don't think that he should be rounded up in the night. But what I do think is that we should be listening to Trump and Trump administration, because he put the Border Czar in there for a reason. He put the Border Czar in there for a reason. Now, you know, we need to get everybody on board. Everybody on board. Everybody need to be on board inside of New York City to make sure that we protect the citizens and we speak to the American people. Cancel me. That's my good chameleon. You's a goods boy. You's a good boy, Eric. You good. Yeah, you a good chameleon.
How are you?
Good, great, thanks. During the pandemic, undocumented workers or essential workers step up in a major way.
Yes.
There's precedent. I think even my maternal grandmother was a nurse during the great influenza that came from Canada. She was granted citizenship and recognition for her service during that time, putting her life at risk for others. Is that something you would be?
We're a different type of show on here. We're different. I know y'all not used to this. Hold on. Can I ask y'all a question? Can I just ask y'all a quick favor? Price of admission for anybody that's coming in here should be a like. All you got to do is hit a like for the algorithm. But if you've been here more than one time, if you enjoy what we do, because this is the greatest morning show on earth, and it's over 5,000 people on here on YouTube alone. And if you've been here more than once, you should already been subscribed, and you should have definitely hit a notification bell so that you know when we go live every single day. You should definitely be doing that. It's no reason why, if you've been here more than once, that you shouldn't be subscribed. All right, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. And get your tickets to come and see me in Detroit December 14th. Discount code Anton in the description. Let's rock.
Willing to work with like 32 BJ and unions to say people that stepped up like that in a major way to help us keep on, they should get some kind of consideration.
Listen, look, the reason I know undocumented and other workers were doing what you said is because I was out there. I wasn't home social distancing. I was not sheltering in place. I was on the streets with people who were willing to help those who were social distancing and who were able to shelter in place. When you were as food service workers responding to your Uber Eats, you could not do it remotely. You had to go out and expose yourself. So I am with you on that. People who are giving back to this city should have an opportunity to participate in the American dream. And I said we should send people to certain cities. I can't say this over and over again. Certain cities that are dealing with population problems and need workers. I need food service workers. Kentucky need backstretch workers. You go all over this country.
What the hell is a backstretch worker? What is a backstretch? I may be off. Let me Google this. Backstretch worker. Backstretch employees. What is a backstretch worker? Oh, those are people that care for the horses. I never heard of a backstretch worker. Caring for people who care for horses. Kentucky Derby, backstretch workers. Wow. Wow, I did not know that. I learned something new today. Thank you, Eric.
Country, and there are many cities and municipalities.
I thought a backstretch worker was something different. Oh, I thought I had me a backstretch worker last night. You know what I'm saying? I thought a backstretch worker was, my mind worked different. Never mind me. Don't worry about it. Let's go into Eric Adams possibly discussing, because CNN was talking about Eric Adams possibly getting a pardon from Trump and what his pathway to victory for that would be.
Arthur represents one of Eric Adams's closest aides. You also count the mayor as a friend, so we'll disclose that. But I do want to, and I should say this aide is a witness in the investigations around him. But this is Eric Adams very clearly taking a page out of Donald Trump's book, maybe borrowing. He's kind of taking some of the shine from Donald Trump and trying to use it for his own purposes. Is the point to get a pardon?
I said that's a backbreaker, not a backstretcher. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm 100% with it. I'm in there. I get it. Backbreaker worker, backstretcher worker, all of that. Somebody said, did you hook up with a chick for the streets? No. I got my own. I married a person that I stretched that back. Never mind. Let me be quiet. Let's continue.
At the end of the day.
Well, he's actually asked the question in that news conference, and he said, I've been saying this for years now. Here was as Eric's position. Initially, I think he felt bad for a lot of these migrants, especially my office is 1 block away from Ground Zero, the Roosevelt Hotel. There's a lot of women there with little kids, and he felt really bad for them. But as they kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and he wasn't getting any help from the federal government, like zilch. Schumer Hakeem Jeffries, and obviously the White House. He was getting minimal help. And finally he realized, okay, it's one thing to be nice. It's one thing now you're overwhelming my city. And then he started pushing back. I can't take him anymore. Now we got to get him out. Then you got migrants starting to beat up cops in Times Square. Then you got migrants committing like real crimes against the citizens of the city of New York. And he's saying, no, that's not going to happen.
To diminish those issues, but
he's been saying that for a long time.
But I think the real question here is not so much about immigration, but about whether this turn has been toward Trump for a very specific purpose. He's being prosecuted by the Southern District of New York, and that prosecutor actually has already resigned. Trump is going to be in a position to potentially help him out in more ways than one.
It's an easy narrative to say, well, the prosecutors that came after the President of the United States are also coming after me in a similar witch hunt. Now, to be clear, President Trump was not prosecuted by the Southern District of New York, the federal prosecutors. He was prosecuted by the Manhattan DA's office.
He was investigated by the Southern District of New York.
Yes.
He was investigated, and then they passed on it because they thought it was a garbage case, and then the Manhattan DA's office picked up on it.
Granted. Continue.
President Trump was not prosecuted by the Manhattan DA's office.
Yes, he was. By the
U.S. Attorney's Office, pardon me.
Yes. Go ahead.
Mayor Adams is being investigated by the federal prosecutors. He will have a chance to have his day in court. The allegations are troubling, to say the least. But it's an easy narrative for him to be able to say that they targeted President Trump and they targeted me. Now, can we get in his head and say that he's trying to curry favor for a pardon? Who knows? But I do think it's an easy narrative to try to yoke himself to the president.
I wouldn't poo-poo this illegal immigration issue. I think people are very upset about it.
I'm not doing that.
There's-
Just to be clear, I'm not doing that. I was just saying that the
Why
issue
always
for Eric
interrupting
Adams
Scott?
that is
Let Scott go.
very important is his legal fate. That's
but
very.
But
that's
his
a big
most
deal.
serious governing issue is that there are roughly 760,000 illegal immigrants living in New York City, and almost 60,000 of them have criminal charges or are convicted criminals. If I were the mayor of New York City, whether I had my own personal political problems or not, I would be desperate to work with the President of the United States to clean up what's going on. Earlier this year, there was a police report that 3/4 of the people being arrested in Midtown were for violent crimes and attacks on the street were illegal immigrants. This is a local governance problem. My assumption is, I don't live here, I'm here a lot, that the people of New York City are hopping mad about it. And whether Eric Adams is using this to get political favor with Trump, I don't know. But my God, you're the mayor. Somebody needs to do something.
Yeah, Scott is right, as usual. I do think that Eric Adams is trying to kill two birds with one stone, and that he's angling for a pardon just in case he gets convicted. And then on top of that, I believe that he's trying to save his job in New York, while at the same time, I don't believe that anybody thought that having a whole lot of illegal migrants overwhelm a city was a good idea. But they played their hand. They bowed the knee to Biden, and now Biden threw everybody under the bus. Kamala Harris is not going to be president. We all knew she wasn't going to be president. Everybody should have seen the writing on the wall. And now these Democratic mayors, which I said, I predicted, I've been saying it for the last 2 years, that their day was going to come and they was going to be held accountable for the decisions that they made. Mike Johnson, Brandon Johnson, your day is coming. Eric Adams, he trying to switch sides and be a chameleon. Karen Bass, we see what's happening over there in Los Angeles. All of these people gonna have to be faced. They're gonna have to face their consequences for the decisions that they made. They put too many people in jeopardy, and they made the wrong decisions, and they chose the wrong side. Let me read some of these super chats, and we're gonna move over with the show. Cynthia Haynes says, "Good morning, Anton. You are absolutely 100% right. Fair is fair." Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you. Anton, I still got photos and messages when I was paid to bring them in. You might want to hide that, big dog. You don't want to. I don't even want to. Let me check my email and make sure I delete that email. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Brian, ICE is on the way. You got to be careful, bro. I don't want to say that out loud. Zero F's experience says, in birthright citizenship and real estate ownership for non-citizens, this is BS. This BS will stop. Kev Rothstein says, Eric Adams was a Republican for years before running for mayor. He is the ultimate worm and ex-MTA cop who lost support of the NYPD after year one. Hey, y'all got to put them receipts down. You know what I'm saying? High Tolerance says, Eric Adams got to kiss the ring and pay the piper on both ends. He'll hear smooth face, no scrub, please. And thank you. Nasty work. Brian says Let me delete that. Delete this out of my email box. Brian, don't keep telling me to come check it. Jesus. And you giving me your screen name. Brian. I don't know him. I ain't never seen Brian before in my life. The views and the opinions of Brian has nothing to do with what's happening over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. Thank you for supporting the platform, Brian. Ashley Patterson says, good morning, Anton. This is the best show ever. I can never miss a stream. I pray you keep going. It is such a blessing to watch. I love you and God bless. Well, Ashley, I will tell you that I am the most consistent person on the face of the earth. I will also say Ashley. I will also say tomorrow I will be doing the show earlier than I normally would, and that's only because I have a meeting that I have to attend to do a presentation in corporate America. Yep, I'm still getting that corporate bag. Yep, I still make that money. Yep, I still got full benefits. Yep, I still got that life insurance. Yep, I still get my bonuses. And yep, they saying that they might give me a new contract. I don't know what I'm going to do. But the show is probably going to be around 9 a.m. Eastern instead of in the 10 o'clock hour. Again, because I have a presentation in the afternoon during the time that I would usually stream. So we're going to move the show up a little bit tomorrow for one day. And then we're going to probably go back to the normal time. So it's going to be around somewhere at 8:45, 9 a.m. Eastern. And then you adjust for whatever your time zone is in Central, Pacific, Mountain Time, so on and so on, okay? And for those of y'all that miss it, I will put the timestamps in there and y'all will be able to restream it. But right now, y'all definitely need to make sure that you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, tap into the Patreon, the Bag Chasers. Best time to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. Am I going into the corporate office? No. I will never go into the corporate office again, but I do have to do a presentation. Yeah, and then make sure y'all get y'all tickets to come and see me December 14th in Detroit. Y'all ready to move on? Y'all ready to get to the next? This is the greatest two hours of the day, ain't it? Getting the show off right, getting our laughs off, being controversial with our opinions, and hopefully adding value into y'all life. All right, so let's go to the next thing. The View. Listen. I don't care what y'all say. I like lunch ladies. I used to like watching the lunch ladies crash out back when Vivica Fox, Lisa Ray, Selena Johnson, and that other chick was on Fox Soul. I used to love it. I used to watch them faithfully to see the lunch ladies say some of the worst takes of all time. Sometimes, I don't know if y'all have ever been to a comedy show before, but sometimes when you go to a comedy show, you laugh at how dumb they are, at how stupid they are. Improvs are hilarious, right? The slapstick comedy and the improv comedy is sometimes way more funny than seeing an established comedian. Y'all need to start going to local shows. Don't just go to the big shows. Don't just go to the Dave Chappelle's and all of that type of stuff, right? Don't just go to the Kendrick Lamar. I know he just recently announced a new tour. Don't just go to the Drake concert and all of that stuff. Go to the local shows. That junk be lit. Absolutely awesome. And sometimes you laugh at how bad it is, but it's just as entertaining. And that's kind of the way that I see The View. The View recently gave their perspective because they couldn't avoid it. They failed to talk about Kamala Harris's message to her supporters because they knew that it was bad. They failed to accurately cover what was going on in the election and the sentiment of the people of how they losing. They absolutely continue to run in the Victim Olympics, but they could not avoid this because this was the biggest news of the week. And the biggest news was Hunter Biden getting pardoned. All right, so we've been covering this all week, but we want to get their perspective even deeper into what is going on and what the fallout is going to be in the Democratic Party as far as what this is. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me get to the actual show itself. I don't need their intro. I don't need their music. I don't need none of that. I just want to get straight to the intro. They've been having less people on The View, too. It's really interesting.
Because this is the kind of gal she is our former co-host, Abby Huntsman.
This guy was in my sweatpants, like cleaning up mac and cheese off the floor. And Brian's like, we're in a pinch. I'm like, all
Is
right,
everybody
well,
on
Whoopi's there.
vacation? As long as we got Whoopi and Sonny hosting, we good though.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
And Sonny's there. And Rachel's there. I will say, though, it's kind of like deja vu. Trump's president again.
Yeah.
Like, what's changed since I was here last? Really?
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm just re-going through menopause again. I mean, I'm just...
Look at Whoopi's socks. Look at Whoopi's socks. Why Whoopi always look like a high-end homeless person?
Period again. Anyways, also joining us as guest co-host, please welcome back attorney, host of Higher Learning podcast, and former bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay. What's going on?
She looks like she's about 13 years old.
I got the call yesterday, too. I dropped everything to get here. You were in L.A.
Who put on her? Who gave her daddy's suit?
What's going on, Rachel?
Thank you for having me. I got the call yesterday, too. I dropped everything.
What is up? Who's the stylist on The View that keep giving all of these women these oversized suit coats and stuff like that? Who told them that that was the new style? Is there something going on in Fashion Week that I'm not aware of? These chicks is looking like they got on their daddy's suit coat in order to go on an interview, their first interview. What the heck is going on?
Everything to get here. You were in L.A., right? I live in L.A., yeah. But when you get the call, you drop it, you come here to share the table with you lovely ladies. Thank you, my friend.
Is that how that works?
That's exactly how that works.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Well, welcome.
She got
welcome
a big
back.
forehead,
welcome back.
though. We like girls with
Let's
big
talk about what's
foreheads.
going on. So President Biden's full pardon to his son Hunter is being met with a strong reaction from the left side of the aisle, too. Take a look.
What other father in America has the power to pardon their son or daughter if they're convicted of a crime?
Yeah, I don't need to
tell them. Acting the way that they do.
Biden did.
American people, I think what is hurtful is denying that if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah.
He is the president of the United States, and it is his right, and he doesn't have to explain to anybody. This is his right as president. He can pardon, if he wants to pardon Bozo the Clown, he can pardon Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why people are clutching their pearls while the left is clutching their pearls. Because did y'all forget all the stuff that we said was going on, or that doesn't matter? Because it seems to me, and I had to write it down because I didn't think I would remember it.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Democrats, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't let people tell you you're not taking the moral ground when we take the moral ground all the time.
So let me guess. They're going to compare this to Trump, and they're going to say that they get a pass to lie, be hypocritical, and their entire campaign was built against trying to paint Trump as the bad guy that is not going to do what he said he's going to do. And then keep on saying Trump 2025, Project 2025. For some reason, that just kind of disappeared and went out the window. Nobody is talking about Project 2025 anymore. And they're going to say that, oh, no, you can have the opportunity to lie. You're still the greatest of all time. And that you shouldn't be held accountable for it. Because what about that guy over there? Let me guess, that's what the play is going to be.
We fight for migrant rights, women's rights, gay folks' rights, trans rights, and every time we do, suddenly we're being told, oh, you're on the woke agenda.
Did y'all hear everything that Whoopi just described? I didn't hear anything about what was best for America. I didn't hear anything about women's rights when it comes to preventing men from going in a bathroom. I didn't hear anything about Americans' rights or what's best for America. I didn't hear anything about what's best for UAW workers and steel workers. I didn't hear anything about what makes the most sense as far as lowering costs for everyday people that pay taxes inside of the United States of America. Every single thing that she named were things that had nothing to do with the core principles of who we are and what this country is supposed to be established based off of. I didn't hear any of it. They don't even talking about black people no more. Have y'all noticed that? They don't even listen. Let me replay what she just said.
All the time. We fight for migrant rights.
People that's not supposed to be here.
Women's rights.
Separating yourself based off of identity and gender politics.
Gay folks' rights.
Things that you can then pick for yourself, and that don't have nothing to do with what you do in your bathroom or in your bedroom. In your bathroom, gotta wipe that butt off. What you do in your bathroom and in your bedroom don't have nothing to do with whether or not we should hire you or not. That has nothing to do with anything.
Trans rights. And
another thing that you choosing to do, and one of the things that Kamala Harris got killed on in her interviews is the fact that she was using taxpayer dollars to do gender reassignment surgery for prisoners. And that's absolutely the dumbest thing that I've ever heard about. Everything that y'all stand on now, okay, so now that Whoopi said that, now do y'all realize why y'all lost? Now do you realize why y'all lost? It could never be more apparent than what she just said to you directly to your face. Everything you fight for has nothing to do with what the majority of 350 million people in this country are suffering from. Everything you fight for has nothing to do with everyday decisions that people are faced with. Has nothing to do with making sure that we got money going into our infrastructure instead of going over to Ukraine and these proxy wars. Have nothing to do with making sure that the people that actually pay taxes here are the ones that's benefiting from what's going on in the federal government, because over in North Carolina, they still suffering. Has nothing to do with making sure that we lower the national debt and we lower prices and we make sure that we preserve jobs. All of that stuff that y'all talking about is stuff that people do that ain't got nothing better to do. It's like a housewife that ain't got nothing better to do, so she gossip all day. People is dealing with real life problems in real world, and y'all still don't get why y'all lost. Dumb.
Every time we do, suddenly we're being told, oh, you're on the woke agenda.
Yep.
Yeah. Either we are this party and we fight for these things, and you see what's going on and you get why he's decided to do this, or you don't. But
so, for all of you that's in the culture that look at yourself as conservative of how you live your life, but is still wrestling with why you then align yourself with the Democratic Party, she just gave you a synopsis. She just broke it down for you, what they stand for. So, you very well may have been a Clinton Democrat. You very well may have even been an Obama Democrat when he first got in office, not what he did when he left office, but what he stood for when he first got into office. You may very well have been those type of Democrats. But is this the Democratic Party that you signed up for, or is this the Democratic Party that you stand loyal to just because it's a label, not because that's what it actually stands for? Because it doesn't align with what you teaching your children, what you teaching your daughter, what you trying to do for your family, and how you trying to survive when it comes to making money in this economy. Because it's okay. Listen, I switched because this is not my father's Democratic Party. This is not my father's Democratic Party. These are the things that they're fighting for. If you are calling yourself a Democrat today, ask yourself, is these the values and the things that you want to fight for and the principles that you stand for? That's all I'm saying. We got to do a self-check. Got to do a self-check.
you don't go out and chew up other Democrats. This is a big problem, I feel, as a Democrat.
That's what's been so troubling to me, sort of this internal firing squad. It's been really bothering me. And what's also been bothering me is, well, Joe Biden should have stuck to what he said. He should have stuck to his promise. He lied. Let's just take a little refresher course.
Let me guess, we're going to blame it on Trump again.
I don't think that he was lying. Anna Navarro spoke to Joe Biden, and he had every intention not to pardon his son. But once he realized that President-elect Trump is going to be on a revenge tour, there were changing circumstances. He became...
What? He got convicted under your presidency.
The pragmatic president that we always knew.
Oh,
now let's talk about lying. And I also had to write it down because I couldn't remember. The Washington Post indicates that President-elect Trump made false or misleading claims a total of 30,573 times over 4 years. Just in August 2024, NPR clocked him at 162 lies during a news conference. October 24th, CNN clocked him 40 separate lies in only 2 Pennsylvania speeches. So if we want to talk about lying, let's talk about that and stop this pearl clutching about Joe Biden's life.
This is what's wrong with politics, though, right? I mean, it's like, how far down the bottom of the barrel can we go? It's like,
There is no barrel.
two wrongs don't make a
We're at
right,
the Earth's
though.
crust.
Two wrongs don't make a right. And I think what people are saying with Hunter specifically is what they hate about politics.
Yeah.
Right? They hate the fact that you can be in these political circles, this elite world, and somehow you're above the law.
But
I don't
do they
care
hate
who
it
you
that
are.
much, Abby?
None of us are above the law, and pardons have happened throughout history. So he can do what he wants. You're exactly right. I think the problem is this has been baked for some time, and there's this trend where there were a lot of people that felt a bit gaslit with the way they handled the.
Oh, they got another logical person on there that's sitting between Whoopi and Sonny Holston that actually is substantiating her argument. I like this woman already.
Inner circle of the Biden team handling his health, how they communicated that. They felt like they weren't as honest. And then you have this, it kind of, I have to just
But
point
do they
something
hate
out.
it that much since they voted the guy in that lied like 40,000 times?
Look, I think that story is, people have made their choice about Trump.
Yeah.
They know the good, they know the good, bad, and the ugly. Last time I saw Biden was at this table, and it was when he was announcing he was running. And I can't help but think about how different that moment was and how different that mood was. He said, I'm going to bring this country together. I'm going to get Trump out of office. I'm going to be the palate cleanser that this country desperately needs.
Save the soul of a nation.
What breaks my heart is for a man that has served most of his life, he is going out in one of the worst ways. You are sandwiched between Trump years. You are now pardoning your son from criminal activity. You were ousted by your own party. This is not what he wants his legacy to be. You think he's sitting there thinking, this is how I'm going to be remembered. This is the way I'm going to be written about.
But I think the issue, too, is that we're missing, once again, the forest for the trees. I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. The thing is that we continue to put our faith in politicians, and every single time you do that, they will let you down. I think that what we need to be focusing on are the policies, and we need to hold people, or our politicians, accountable for that. I think that when it comes to what we need to be focusing on, we need to move on. We need to pick up the pieces from this election, and then I think we need to regroup and focus on the next 4 years. I don't think we need to be worrying about the fact that he is pardoning Hunter Biden. I don't think that would have changed how the public views politicians at all. If he did decide to not pardon him, we would still feel the same way.
Cap, get Captain Big Head off the stream. She nervous anyway. She might be a little bit nervous. She got her talking points together. Her voice is a little shaky, a little raspy. I get it. I understand what's happening. The fact of the matter is the public do feel gaslit. They were gaslit. You did lie. And you're not going to sit here and point the finger at somebody else and try to distract us away from what you said and what you did. And more importantly, as the details come out, why did you pardon him? Not just for the crimes that he got convicted for, but for the last 10, 11 years when you was vice president of the United States of America. And because nobody wants to have the uncomfortable conversation and nobody wants to hold these Democrats accountable because for whatever reason, y'all think that they're above the law, even though they never even explained why they brought a bunch of migrants over here in the first place, why we are participating in these proxy wars in the first place, why they continue to not talk to Putin and find some level of diplomacy while at the same time trying to reduce the amount of money that we spending on things that we don't need. But y'all still look at them as the party of honesty, decency, and bringing people together. So, my resident lunch lady show. Always enjoy listening to the lunch ladies. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I want to move over to Chicago. Got to get to Chicago. If I don't talk about nothing else on this stream, I'm talking about Chicago. Serena addressed the bleaching rumors. Interesting. Whoopi looks like Goro from Mortal Kombat. Reality Check TV Chicago. Shout out to Reality Check TV Chicago. ANTONDANIELS. Authentic news teaching our nation decisions, applying natural inspiration, exemplifying live strategies. Thank you for that, my friend. I appreciate you. JC says, let's hope Whoopi keep that same energy when Trump pardoned the J6ers. I won't hold my breath, though. Aaron L. says, is it even constitutional to grant a future pardon for charges that don't exist yet? How does that work? I hope the next Congress questions this. Man, if I knew that I was going to have a pardon for what happened from 2014 through 2024, you know some of the stuff I probably would have did? If I knew that, and I had the foresight to think about, no, let me be quiet. Let me stop. Well, that's what we need to start asking for from our wives. Can I get a pardon? Can I get a future pardon? Can I get a past pardon? Fly Girl says, I think transgender people are mentally ill. Oshkosh Worldwide says, seems nobody should be loyal to a party. Vote for the people's and country's best interest. Simple. Voters are supporters, not actual party members. I'm cool with that, Oshkosh. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. Thank y'all for all of the love that y'all showing. But we got to get over to Chi-Town, my favorite place to talk about in this election. The thing that I want to highlight is my girl, Danny. What up, Danny? Danny. We might get to a couple other people on top of that. But my girl, Danny, and them over there at Chicago Red, they doing work. If y'all don't appreciate people that's in y'all own city that's doing the work, let me give them a round of applause before we even get to it. Danny is over here with all kind of smoke for Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. See, I never thought that I would actually run into people on a local level that was as passionate about what's going on in these cities as I am. But I think we found them. And shout out to everybody that's over there with Chicago Red. You know, Tom Dog got y'all back. See, Roland Martin and them, they don't want to highlight y'all. Steve, what's his name? Steve Harvey, he don't want to talk to you. All of these news organizations and streamers, they don't want to give y'all no love. D.L. Hughley, they ain't got y'all back. Ricky Smiley, he don't love black people like they say that they do. They not trying to understand it from the other side. They only want to hear and see y'all fail. But Anton from AntonDaniels.com, I love you. I got your back. I'm the person that's going to hold you down. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear what they had to say to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Let's go over to the actual conversations that they was having with B. Johnson.
Mayors out here and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all stood up there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaign and double down that you would not raise property taxes. I ain't gonna do that. You campaign went around doing that. And here we are right now. You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first. Because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second, stop her time. Just a second. Stop her time.
Look at that.
Ma'am,
look
I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay?
What language did she use that was inappropriate, Pastor? Because I know he likes it. He likes to talk to the archdiocese. He likes to talk to the people of Chicago. Ma'am, if you want to continue speaking, and if you want to speak in an appropriate manner, then you are going to have to make sure that your language is appropriate. She didn't call him out of his name. She didn't curse. She didn't say anything disrespectful. She is just absolutely passionate about what she's standing for. She didn't threaten nobody. None of that. Not little old Danny. Not little old fitness Danny. Talk to him, girl. Talk to him.
All right.
We got Alex.
Okay, you can begin her time again.
You're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. You said you're going to spend our tax dollars to take Trump to court to protect these illegals if they try to come in here in your district. And then you said all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it. Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're gonna let all y'all constituents know who y'all ratting for, that y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So that's what we're doing.
Ain't that crazy? They willing to spend Chicagoans' tax dollars on sheltering, giving hundreds of millions of dollars to the staffing companies, and to provide them with legal services. They are willing to straight up. Come on, man. It's got to be some kind of kickback, some kind of incentive. I don't know anybody, not one person, nobody. I don't know nobody that's willing to go to bat and lose their jobs because that's what's happening. There is a reckoning, and I don't know if anybody is paying attention to the voice of the people, what's happening on the ground, or what is happening in the national election and how that's trickling down into what's going on a local level. People voted to give Republicans unprecedented power in all three levels of government. All three levels of government. And y'all don't think that y'all gonna be affected? Man, listen, I ain't losing my bag for nobody. I'm not losing my bag for nobody. Nobody. Straight up. People, they do more for less. They are willing to lose their jobs to crash out for people that are not even legally supposed to be here. There has to be some kind of incentive that goes along with it. It has to be something else that go along with it. You're not going to sit here and tell me that people is just wanting, listen, I'm just so passionate about people that I've never seen before and possible criminals that's over here kicking the police and kicking their necks in and doing some of the craziest crimes and the gangs and the violence that's going on in Chicago and letting them sleep in the police department and giving them unprecedented amount of money and helping them to buy homes. From where? How? How does that level of passion translate for people you've never seen before in your entire life? You're no way ever in life going to convince me that people are willing to crash out this bad for people that can't even speak English. I'm not going for it.
That's cool, because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's gonna rap? I think not. Flip Chicago red.
Talk to him, baby. I love Danny. Y'all want me to bring Danny back on the platform?
Our next speaker this morning is Miss Lawrence.
Now let's get down to Tom Homan and 8 U.S.C. 1324. Different editions of 1994, 2020, 2021, and 2022 about...
You got to be careful of people like this because they know the law. When they talk real prudent like this, they know the law.
You harvesting aliens, and you so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
And they start talking to the mic like this, and you don't do nothing for U.S. citizens. They not playing no games. They not playing no games.
We are the ones who pay your salaries. Salaries. Let me accentuate on that. But yet, you want to overlook us like we don't exist. Well, you're not going to exist for the next election because there's a 10-year prison sentence when you want to stand up here for those illegals.
Ain't going to no jails.
Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Let's talk to George.
Brenda Johnson didn't bring this doo-doo here. It's been here. Old Man Daley, Harold Washington, Richard Daley, Lady Lightfoot. This man did not bring this doo-doo in this room.
Did he say doo-doo? Like doo-doo, man, that's doo-doo that you eating. Is he saying doo-doo?
It's been here. And you've been voting for this doo-doo too. Well, maybe some of you have, and maybe this is all rigged. They're all Democrats. All of, and it's been this way. So some of y'all get up here and spit in this mic and holler. It's been this way. This is nothing new under the.
And here's the thing. This is why you got to do away with the old guard. We like to get these people on here to say they do too. But this is why you got to get rid of the old guard, because these old folks, they so disconnected. They so supportive of their oppression and the Victim Olympics and being on a Democratic plantation. They are willing to go to the grave to hold it down, even though it's the worst thing that ever happened to you. This man is giving away hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars and resources and money directly related to this migrant crisis, and he's trying to cape for him instead of get him out. This guy is one of the reasons why the Brandon Johnsons and the Karen Bass stay in office. These are the type of people, these loyal people are the ones that keep the Tiffany Henyards and the Fawny Willises elected. They're the ones that keep them elected. I'm telling you, 100%.
Now, how are you going to get rid of all of them? All of them, and make it happen, make it work. I don't think you're going to do it just holler and go red. I think you're going to have to have some strategic aims to clean this doo-doo up. This is old doo-doo.
Old
doo-doo
doo-doo?
go back a long time. And you don't smell it now because it's dry, but you can see the results of it. It needs to have a change here. All of them are the same. Every one of these men and women are the same point. All of them.
And he mad.
Stay in the microphone, Mr. Blakemore. Stay in the microphone.
A revolution to change this system and clean it up and have a real democratic system, a democracy where you have different points of views. Everybody here is the same doo-doo. All of them. Have you ever seen a bad house?
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired.
It's the same doo-doo, man.
Our next speaker is Mr. Cruz.
Today I stand here as a concerned citizen to speak out against the leadership of Mayor Brandon Johnson, a leader whose actions and affiliations are doing a disservice to our once great city. Under the current mayor's administration, we've seen a disturbing trend. A mayor more concerned with pandering to special interest groups and non-taxpayers than with making the tough, necessary decisions to move this city forward.
So straightforward and dedicated and just getting it straight out.
Mayor Johnson's leadership can be defined by demagoguery, fueled by progressive rhetoric and driven by a divisive agenda that plays to the lowest common denominator rather than striving for unity, fiscal responsibility, or the common good. We do not need progressive revenue initiatives. We have an addiction to spending, and it must be fixed immediately. The CTS budget in 2010 was $5.3 billion, roughly $13,000 per student to educate. In the 2025 budget, the budget for CPS is $10 billion, or $31,000 per student. When is enough enough? That's the cost to go to the University of Illinois. What's more troubling is the mayor's blatant disregard to address the rising cost of living, worsening infrastructure, and mounting public debt. His proposal to raise property taxes was egregious and was lost by 50-0 vote. He and his supporters refused to give in on the sanctuary status when we've spent over $600 million on migrants this year, while Chicago is basically insolvent.
I agree with every single person outside of the doo-doo, man. I agree with everybody that's holding Mayor Johnson accountable. I just hope that the rest of the people that's in the city, because y'all got millions of people that's in Chicago, actually care and they mobilize and they don't just take this opportunity to hold him accountable. It should not be the same people every single week that is holding Brandon Johnson accountable. That's my main problem with people that don't get engaged, but yet they'll sit there and complain about what's happening to little man, and, you know, we don't have no money, and it ain't no jobs, and the police ain't coming. It's the same people that hold y'all down. The same people is there every single week. The same people is there every single month. The same people is in the community mobilizing, and y'all acting like it's their job when they doing it for free every single week. Every single week. So I'm going to continue to hold y'all down. I just hope y'all people also hold y'all down. And shout out to the doo-doo man. All right? Shout out to the doo-doo man. I have to go and get my truck. It is gotten wrapped. I'm not gonna get no rims from it for it until after the weather pass, because I don't want to have my rims with all of this salt in it. I appreciate you, homeboy. Keep up the good work. Shout out to Martin Muhammad. The Fit Accountant. Shout out to the Fit Accountant says, all I hear Whoopi saying, it's not a lie. Like she said, it wasn't grape. Shout out to the Fit Accountant. I love you. Look, Papa D, we're not even gonna worry about that. What? I'm gorgeous. Cynthia E says, I got a super sticker for you. Thank you, Cynthia E. Hey, people that pay to get your attention, I love you. Papa D says, you look ashy. That ain't what your mama said last night. Amen says, hi, AD and everyone. This is an eye-opener for show. High Tolerance says, somebody tell Paul, Bilkin Parade is in August. Charles Hubbard says, it's because when the census count them, that brings more funding and more political seats in government. That's why they going hard for the migrants. Green Monster says, them Chi-Town Dems is all doo-doo, baby. Old doo-doo, you can't smell it because it's dry. Jesus Christ. Anyways, listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I be feeling bad on Wednesday nights because I don't be having no live stream on Wednesday nights. But it's a time for me to get things back in, go and take care of some business, and to get to it. All right? All right? Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all take an opportunity to get some rest. We are back at it tomorrow morning. Remember, tomorrow we are live streaming earlier than usual. Because I got a meeting that I got to attend at 11 o'clock hour. So we're going to live stream probably sometime between 8:30 and 9 a.m. Eastern. And then you can adjust for whatever your time zone is. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get that and get your tickets to come and kick it with me December 14th in Detroit. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. I love y'all. I genuinely do.